Welcome back to SwitchCorner. It's Thursday, meaning 10 deals under $10 or of course your local currency, and I gotta say it's a monster week. I will start there. The deals are insane with all-time new lows, games for the first time ever on sale, and even a few favourites returning. So as always then I'll be covering eShops in the US, Canada, UK, EU and AU. So with that luck, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family and let's get started, because I've gotta say, struggle to choose just like 10 games today, so you were getting more like 15. Yeah, my bad. Alright, so kicking things off today, I've reviewed this over on the channel, but Exit the Gungeon. This was a surprise drop from one of the more recent indie directs, and while it might not be, you know, a true sequel as such, I still absolutely loved it. Switching things out here for a 2D perspective, the idea is simple. You've overcome the dungeon and now you must escape. With time running out, the only option a lift-like system, and this appears to be the most dangerous elevator ever, with all manner of things out to kill you. Here it's a roguelike, so try and try again, and of course expect to die a lot. Blending the gunplay though of Enter the Gungeon with the dodge mechanics through bullets, it just works so well and I was not disappointed. It is of course like hard as hell, there's no doubt about it, but it's also a lot of fun with this interesting gun mechanic where it just kind of randomly changes on you every 30 seconds or so. With 30% off, it's not a monster discount, but it is a new all-time low, so if you've ever been tempted, I think now might be the time. So next up then, another indie direct shadow drop. This one is RACKET. This didn't get much attention and I gotta be honest, I really did enjoy it. It's a little bit different while not taking itself, you know, too seriously. I always meant to do a review on this one and then it was you know, one of those times when it just kind of slips you by. It's basically though a old school arcade game where you fly through the sky with title RACKET in hand. Enemies will fire bullets at you and you will hit them back at them, kind of Breakout style. Here you're going to be taking down blocks though on waves of enemies, while slowly seeing that of course difficulty ramp. Gotta say with this one as well, there's some really fun power-ups in here and some great boss moments. Like Exit though, just know that this is seriously challenging and it took me a decent amount of time to get through it. I will say I faced more than a little frustration, but it is fair with its difficulty, and the only thing kind of holding me back was my ability with the game. Like Exit 2 though, I've only ever seen this on sale once before, and this price now 50% off, an all-time new low. Alright, so you want something a little bit more easy going after those two that are going to just kick your ass? Maybe check out RIVERBOND with a huge 60% off. Imagine kind of like Minecraft style visuals with a cutesy animal vibe that's then been blended into an almost very light take on Zelda. This one though, I gotta say, it's a great one to play with the family thanks to its local 4-player co-op and relatively simple difficulty curve. I know a few folks out there with kids though, Pixel Game Squad for one, check out their channel, good people, but they have kids and they have sunk hours into this one. Honestly, I played it solo myself for the most part and I still really enjoyed it. The visuals are solid, enemies are creative, and there's just a ton of weapons to mess with. Also, here you get 8 different worlds and there's a lot worse ways for some good old RPG action platforming. Check it out if you want something where you can kind of just shut off the brain and kind of relax. For regulars on my channel then, Creature in the Well. I do a hidden gem series every single Tuesday on the channel, and just recently I actually put this game on there. Seems this hidden gem series of mine is lucky though, because it's now gone on sale following Dead or School last week. This is an incredible game, and while I will say it's, you know, short, the combination of gameplay here is unlike any other experience on the Switch. Basically explore this almost forgotten world as you venture into a desert mountain to restore power to an ancient facility. Naturally though, expect a whole lot of enemies along the way, but while it might look like a typical hack and slash, here you'll be hacking and slashing like energy balls to proceed. That's because it's basically Breakout meets Hyper Light Drifter gameplay all wrapped up in just stunning visuals. Strong recommendation right now though, as it matches the lowest price ever and you rarely see this thing on sale. A quick one now, but NBA 2K20, I won't spend long on it, but it dropped to this price a couple of months back in the UK, EU, AU, Japan. Finally, it's getting its chance for those of us in the US. It's a great port, in fact it looks absolutely stunning and you really can't complain with 92% off. That's really all I've got to say about this one. You can play basketball, what else can I really add? So another one I spoke about recently on the channel in a review roundup I did, and now it's getting a sale. This is Rainswept. This one I went in with low expectations, and it was a case of I was wrong to doubt it. Taking influence from the mighty Twin Peaks for its characters and story, I got hooked nearly immediately, and while it's not the longest of games, I gotta say I really enjoyed my time in this world. Basically here you're a detective who goes to a small town to solve a murder of a young couple. While the townfolk here, they say it's a case of, murder-suicide, you have your doubts and you set out to solve this mystery. It's basically a point and click, so not the most action-packed of experiences, but you'll basically be selecting where to go, who to talk to, and generally what to investigate. I do wish the investigation parts were a little kind of heavier, but the story's great, especially as it starts to test our detective's sanity. First of a time on sale and it's 30% off, really not bad at all, and I know a lot of you were kind of interested in this one, so now is your chance. So my pickups of the week then, as always, this is where I'm spending my cash. Can't necessarily recommend them, haven't played them, but maybe you want to join me for the ride. And I have two this week that I've been waiting to see make a comeback. First, we've got Perception, and while reviews here, they weren't outstanding or anything, it just seems like a really cool concept to me. It's a first-person horror game where you take on the role of a blind woman who can only see when sound essentially illuminates the environment and world around her. It looks creepy, which could just be a very good trailer, but at 75% off, I'm more than willing to take the risk. Then The Church in the Darkness. I actually ended up missing this one sadly on the last sale, and this has had me curious for the longest of time. I love the visual style, but it's the story that really intrigues me. You basically take on this role of a detective who sets out to infiltrate a cult and save your nephew. So how you do this is basically up to you: all out violence, stealth, a combination of the two. It seems to be like a heavy subject matter, but yeah, it sounds really interesting, and I can't wait to hear more about this cult family. So let's do a couple of quickfire returning favourites now. First up, Horizon Chase Turbo, coming in with 70% off. Don't see this price too frequently, and it's a fantastic retro inspired racer. You take the classics like your Outruns, or in this case especially Top Gear, and you put a vivid modern spin on the visuals along with a great synthwave soundtrack. It's addictive, there's a ton of content, and there's even some DLC that's super cheap if you really want to go all out. For a racer as well, I gotta say there's a lot of content here, and it should keep you busy for some time. Then next up we've got a Hotline Miami coming in with 65% off. This collection, it's a top-down twin stick shooter, I guess, with a seriously trippy storyline. Basically you get into locations, you take down every enemy in sight, you collect what you need and you escape. One hit here though will kill you, so it's tough, but it's well worth a look. And its out there storyline just hooked me personally, even if it is kind of almost minimal in the way it's delivered. Want a sign of its quality? This one is published by the masters of indie right now, Devolver Digital. So here's one I haven't spoken about in some time, Blazing Chrome. It's rocking 50% off. You like run and gun games? You like Contra? Then this is the game for you, as it's basically Contra without the license to use the name. Channeling though its inner 80s and arcade gameplay, it's lacking on the brains front, I gotta say. But for all out action, it's got it where it counts with the gameplay. This one you can play solo and co-op, it's pretty challenging, and there's some great enemies and boss moments to face. It's all then wrapped up in a pixelated futuristic world as well, which I absolutely loved, and I really hope this one gets the sequel it deserves one day. So now let's talk Jotun Valhalla edition with a monster 75% off. It's coming from Thunder Lotus Games. They recently, just 2 days ago, shadow dropped a game by the name of Spiritfarer. I'm playing through that one right now. I think it will show up in a review roundup in the future, something I launched recently on the channel, but I'm going to give you a clue. It's absolutely stunning. This game though, like Jotun, is their previous work, and while I don't think it quite matches Spiritfarer on the gameplay front, you can see their uniqueness in the visual department. That's not to say this is a bad game either, just Spiritfarer is almost another level. This action adventure though is well worth the trip, but do be warned, it's got some seriously challenging moments in here that kind of caught me off guard. That said, the price, absolute steal with 75% off. So our final 3 games of the week then, kicking us off, we've got Rock of Ages 2, Bigger and Bolder. This isn't a perfect game, but recently the first game it dropped, and while I called it average, mainly down to repetition and some performance issues, this may be a very good place to start because it's a fraction of the cost, and mostly I gotta say an identical experience outside of the custom track editor. Basically here you build defenses on a track and you compete with an opponent to destroy each other's bases. as boulders, you're basically rolling them towards each other and you'll control them on the track. It's fun in short bursts though. I enjoyed the Monty Python-esque like you, Matt, and honestly, 60% off really isn't bad, putting this in like nearly super budget range. So these last two, I've got to say, I've spoken about them before, but they deserve all the love they get. First, a twin stick shooter by the name of Assault Android Cactus Plus. I was actually introduced to this one thanks to a comment on the channel going back like maybe a few months back now, and I absolutely regret not picking it up sooner. In fact, since then I even got a hold of a physical copy. This one's coming in with 60% off though now, and that is the lowest price we've ever seen. There's not a lot to it honestly, but what it does as a twin stick shooter is just literally everything you want from the genre. Tight controls, fun enemy design, bigger bosses, local co-op, tons of characters to play as. It takes influence from the bullet hell genre as well, but I loved it, and it's lengthy too, 25 levels and then a new game plus. You will not, I promise you, regret adding this one to your collection. So our final game of the week then, on a modern classic Super Meat Boy. 50% off makes it a new all-time low, and if ever there was a smart way to spend like less than 10 bucks or your local currency, this is it right here. While it's super challenging, it's more than worth it as you platform through 300 plus single player levels of fighting all sorts of things that can basically kill you as you try to save your girlfriend from a fetus in a jar. Weirdest thing I've said on the channel in some time. This is pretty much perfect though, and there's a sequel in the works and it will keep you busy for a long time to come. If you take one suggestion from today's list, this is absolutely the game you should get. And that is it, another week down. What will you be adding to your collection, and have I missed any sub $10 deals I should be checking out? As always, then a huge shout out to the patrons of the channel who are just going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. Means more than you know, and I absolutely appreciate it. If you want to check that out for yourself, it is linked in the description down below. With that then, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.